So it's been a while since I've made a video, so I'm back with another INFJ video. And this one I think is a little bit more directed towards men than women, but it's not exclusively for men. So I actually just I have pulled up here on my second monitor a few description characteristics of INFJs. And I'm assuming if you're clicking on an INFJ video, you've already probably identified with that personality type after the test, and you want to learn more, or you just feel like watching videos on INFJs. So I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I've been feeling recently and see if I'm out here in left field by myself or if I'm relating with some other people. And so I looked up just on Google common traits of the INFJ. And these are not limiting to INFJs, and these are not limiting to the other personality types saying that like an ENFP can't have these traits. So these are just common characteristics that really shine through for INFJs. INFJs are gentle, caring, complex, and highly intuitive individuals. The part that I want to talk about is the complexity and the highly intuitiveness of being an INFJ. And if you haven't already, I really highly recommend that you guys go check out the INFJ personality type by the personality hacker. I think it's Mark and Antonia. They do this podcast talking about INFJs. And man, and they're not INFJs. They did a better job than me, an INFJ, on describing INFJs. Like, they hit the nail right on the head. So even if you want to click off this video, by all means, go search them on YouTube. Personality Hacker, INFJ. They have a few, like 2 or 3 videos on INFJs, and the longest one is the one that I'm referring to. That video is so good. So but in that video, they talk about the highly intuitive individual. And honestly, like that's as an INFJ, and the one thing that I want to make sure that we don't do as a personality type is that we don't exclusively like think that this is us. Again, I said in my last video, this is not the be all end all, but it's just something to get some like groundwork to maybe understand yourself a little bit better. But we are constantly in our heads, aren't we? We're thinking a lot, and I know that might be stupid to just say like, oh, I think a lot. Like, what does that even mean to say you think a lot? Well, I almost live in my head. I almost sometimes forget that I am a physical being that is like in contact with the world. I am almost just always up in here, whether I'm thinking about hypothetical situations that aren't even real, scenarios that might tick me off, and then I'll get heated over something that didn't even happen. It's just all up here. And I'll think about lost verbal battles with people. I'm sorry, that light is really harsh. It's winter, so the snow is really reflective outside. I'll think about like past like arguments that I lost that I'll like be thinking about in my head, like, oh man, I should have said this and crushed that person with this argument, which is all stupid in the end because that leads to unforgiveness. It leads to me not like letting go of situations, and that really impacts me now. Like stuff that happened 3 years ago is still affecting me now because I just have the inability to just let it go. And that's something that I'm trying to practice at. And being highly intuitive and just like clocking so many hours of just being good at reading people and reading scenarios and situations and the energy of a room and needs and desires of people. Like, we're professionals at it. Like, we do it without even thinking about it. We're doing it all the time. Like, I'll be in a room with 12 people and I'll know the desires and the wants of the people around me, and I can just morph my personality into who I need to be at that time to fit, to make things work, if I am putting that correctly. like if there's one person in that room that's really in need of someone to talk to or to be a certain individual for them, I can morph to be who they need me to be at that time. And I've done this so frequently, so often, that I almost don't even know who I am at this point. I'm going on 22 years old, and I know that's not old. I mean, it's not really young. I'm a 16-year-old, but I'm pretty young, and I've come this far, and I almost don't even know who I am because I've just done this so frequently of just morphing into what other people want me to be, what they need me to be. Um, so I kind of want to like, there's like a healthy amount of that. And then there is an unhealthy amount, obviously. And I think I've reached the unhealthy where I almost don't even know what my passions are, what my likes and dislikes and desires for life are. And honestly, this has led me into feeling pretty dead on the inside. Um, I just like lack ambition at this point. I have no desire really to keep pressing on. Like I'm in college, but I don't like it. I don't like homework. I don't like going to class. I'm really, really depressed and really lonely in my mind. I'm lonely in my mind because I don't know. I feel like I have, and this is like not me trying to like toot my horn or like anything, but like I have complex thoughts that like I'm like no one else is thinking like this. Like I'm so weird, and it really just leads me to isolation, and I'm really trying to get out of it. And I was thinking about it the other day. I was like thinking, man, like I would never commit suicide out of loneliness and depression. But if by some divine way, some power, like if God, because I'm a Christian, but like if God were to come down to me and like give me some divine piece of information, like, hey, you're gonna die next year in 2020, I wouldn't I wouldn't be mad. I don't know. Like I just this life is a roller coaster. I'm pretty tired of it. I don't know. Like and I'm kind of like ready to get off the ride. Um I haven't really been happy, but I would never commit suicide. And so I just wanted to like look up the suicide rates in America, and I thought it was pretty alarming. Um, and this is off of Google. So I just wanted to point out the fact that men die by suicide 3.5% or time 3.5 times more often than women. There's about 123 suicides per day, and about 13 people per 100,000 people commit suicide. And that's scary to me. That's a lot of people, and it's on the rise. And I think I'm going to make a video uh, probably sometime in the distant future because with college and life, I say I'm going to make a video, then forget about it completely. But someday in the future, whenever I rewatch this video and hear my own desire of what I wanted to create, I think I'm going to make a video on just titled, Why Are We Anxious? Why are we sad? What's happening? Why is suicide rate going up? What is going on? And so I just want to talk about, at least for INFJs, the big word on 16 personalities that they use as a characteristic or a personality describer is altruistic or altruism, which is being able to just like put off almost in a disregarding sort of way your own needs and desires for the needs and desires of other people. And the big question is, yeah, that's good to a certain amount, as I said earlier, but what's too far? And I think when I think of altruistic people, I think of like Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi, people like that. Um, but like how did they find that balance, the healthy balance? A lot of them, it would make them physically ill. Because we have this ability to just sense out the emotions of other people and almost even just take their emotions on as if they were our emotions. Like I'll I'll walk into a room, and if there's a sad person, I'll just suck in their sadness for some unknown reason. Or if they're angry, I'll walk into a room and I'll look at my girlfriend like, someone's mad in here. And like, I don't know how or why I do it, but that takes a toll. And being around in a dreary college town around this time, and like people are always sad, and I'm always sad even without their sadness, but then I'm taking in on their sadness too. It literally makes me physically ill. I tell my girlfriend, like, I always feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like, I just feel so anxious in my stomach, and I just feel so scared all the time, and I don't know why. And so I just wanted to talk about some things to cope, and these are things that I'm I myself am trying to get into. Um, so something that I do is I have a notebook. I chose a really neat looking one. Um, Actually, I didn't choose this. My girlfriend got it because she knows I like to write, and I don't know. I just find that writing down things that I would likely forget, that happened in my day, or something that's really heavy on my heart and mind, just writing it down helps me tremendously get the weight off, because I don't always have people to talk to, because as INFJs, what we all hate small talk. We just want to jump right into the deep spiritual, like, depth of your soul talk, and some people just aren't about that. Most people aren't about that. And not that they would come outright and say, like, nah, I'm not big into deep talks. Like, not that people would say that. It's just whenever you start doing that, you can feel the discomfort of people. They're like, oh, I don't really like talking about this deep stuff. So everything that I can't get out with other people, I write down. Um, so that's one thing. Music. I don't know whether you guys get your music from Spotify, Apple Music. Are you still on the iTunes boat? Um, YouTube Music. I find that music really helps me escape, even for just a little bit. And anything to escape for just a little bit, in my opinion, is worth it. Um, because we need time by ourselves, and that's like altruism, like being altruistic and looking out for other people. That's great. It is. But if you're not taking care of yourself, and this goes for me too, because I haven't taken care of myself, we will drive ourselves right into the dirt. And that's exactly what I've done. And I feel like crap. And I'm trying to undo years of doing this, because it man, I just feel so dead on the inside and so lonely, and I'm trying to undo this. And why I study what I study in college is because another thing to cope with this is exercise. Um, they said the best thing to do, doctors have said the best thing to do if you're depressed is to exercise. And it makes sense, because that releases chemicals in your mind that make you feel better. But I mean, it's limiting. It's limited in that it's not going to fix the problem completely, but taking care of yourself physically and being in good shape, that will definitely help. And I wrote sitting. I've found that I'm really weird in that I can sit perfectly still in silence for hours. That, like, apparently that's not common. Like, my girlfriend, if we're sitting for an extended period of time, I can just sense her getting, like, giddy. Like, she just has to move. And, like, I can see her starting to develop a twitch. And I don't know, that just doesn't happen to me. And, like, when we're at having the long lectures, and, like, we get out of the classroom and people are like, man, it was so freaking boring, I fell asleep. Like, that was way too long. I'm like, that was fine. That could have been 3 hours longer and I'd have been perfectly fine. So being able to, if you can't sit with your own thoughts and figure out who you are and, like, your own thought patterns, I think that's going to be really bad. in the long run. Sometimes I'll make a point to just come into my room and just sit and just, like I said, sometimes I spend too much time up in my head. Well, sometimes that's really good because, like you just have to sit down, deep breath, and just be still. Just be still, hear the quietness, and bring closure to things in your mind. Close up the loose ends and just be at peace and just be still and to just breathe slowly. I found that that has helped me a lot. Um, Another thing that I do is I'm a part of some INFJ personality groups on Facebook. And honestly, though, they're kind of mediocre. Because you get in the group and it's not exclusive to INFJs because how can it be? People can lie. But like I found that seeing that there's other people like me, that has really helped me know that I'm not alone. But again, that doesn't even do that doesn't even help all that much. And the last thing is actually something that is brand new to me, and I'm going to start doing. Is I think I'm going to go see a psychologist, a therapist, and just talk it out, hash it out with someone. I get it for free on the campus that I go to for college, and so I'm going to try to utilize that and just talk with some psychologists and therapists and see if they can help me out. Well, I got to go back to class. It's that time, so I'm going to stop this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments, and be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.